Good day. This is the Group 3, and we're going to report our topic, feelings or nationality. Speaking to you is Mr. Kenth Oyao, and I'm going to report this topic together with my group mates, Mr. Harold Arreglado, Mr. Jimboy Calipayan, and Miss Jeriza Aniñon. So our topic starts with our objectives. Our objectives are first define key terms related to feelings and rationality. Understand the importance of balancing feelings and rationality in ethical decision making. Identify real life scenarios where feelings and rationality play a role in ethical decision making. Apply a balanced approach to ethical decision making by integrating both feelings and rationality. And lastly, reflect on the role of feelings and rationality in personal and professional ethical decisions. But before that, let's have an ethics review. Ethics is a branch of philosophy that deals with the study of morality, determining what is right and wrong in human behavior and decision making. In the quest to understand and make ethical judgments, two key elements have long been subject of debate: feelings and rationality. Both play crucial roles in shaping our moral values and judgments. Yet, their relative importance and influence continue to be scrutinized and debated by philosophers and ethicists alike. So, what is the relationship between feelings and rationality? The relationship between feelings and rationality in ethics is complex, as they often seem to be opposing forces. Feelings, which encompasses emotions and intuitions, are typically viewed as a subject of experiences that can cloud our judgment and lead to biased or impulsive decisions. On the other hand, rationality, which includes instrumental and value rationality, is often considered as the cornerstone of objective and well-reasoned ethical decision making. Sorry, next slide. So why is understanding important? The importance of examining the roles of feelings and rationality in ethics cannot be overstated. By exploring their historical development, assessing their contributions to moral judgments, and considering how they can be integrated in ethical decision making, we can deepen our understanding of human morality and develop strategies to navigate complex ethical dilemmas. So firstly, we are going to discuss the types of feelings. One type of feelings is emotions. Emotions are complex psychological states that involve subjects' experiences, psychological responses, and expressive behaviors. Examples of emotions relevant to ethics include anger, guilt, sympathy, and moral disgust. Intuitions are immediate, non-conscious judgments or beliefs that arise without conscious reasoning or reflection. Moral intuitions are often experienced as gut feelings or instincts about the rightness or wrongness of an action or situation. The two types of feelings have a person that supports that emotion in moral judgments. So the first person is David Hume. A Scottish philosopher argued that moral judgments are primarily based on feelings rather than reason. According to Hume, our moral evaluations are grounded in our emotional responses to actions or situations, with moral approval or disapproval arising from sentiments such as sympathy, benevolence, and resentment. The second person, Jonathan Hyde, psychologist Jonathan Hyde proposed that moral judgments are primarily driven by automatic, intuitive processes, with reasoning often serving as a post hoc rationalization. Hyde's model emphasizes the social and emotional nature of moral cognition, highlighting the importance of factors such as empathy, group affiliations, and cultural norms in shaping our moral intuitions. Sorry, next slide, please. So, what is the moral relevance of empathy and compassion? Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, and compassion, the concern for the suffering of others and the desire to alleviate it, are both crucial components of ethical decision making. These feelings enable us to recognize the moral significance of others' experiences, promote pro-social behavior, and serve as a foundation for moral principles such as the Golden Rule and the principles of beneficence. This I'm going to show you now a scenario where feelings is shown to be the cornerstone of an ethical decision. First scenario is hiring based on personal connections. A manager hires a friend or family members for a position, despite the candidate not having the required qualifications or experiences based on emotional attachment or loyalty. This decision, driven by feelings, can lead to a less effective team and resentment among other employees. A more rational approach would involve hiring the most qualified candidate regardless of personal connections. Remember, familiarity breeds contempt. So, in this scenario, based on what I read, is we can say that feelings is the cornerstone in making an ethical decision in this scenario, because despite there is an potential employee with higher capabilities, the employer or the manager hires a friend or family member despite the candidate not having the required qualifications or experience. This in turn had a negative impact on the team, less effect having a less effective team and resentment among other employees. Another scenario is impulsive decision based on anger. In response to a perceived insult, a person impulsively ends a long-term friendship or partnership. This decision, driven by anger and hurt feelings, may lead to regret and the loss of a valuable relationship. A more rational approach would involve taking time to cool off, considering the consequences of the decisions, and engaging in open communications to address the issue. So, in this scenario, feelings again is involved. What feelings? The feelings of anger. Anger can greatly affect our ethical decision making skills. But if we are not balanced in making decisions and go through with our feelings, this can may lead to regrets, same as in this scenario. In this scenario, it is explained that there is a more rational approach, and indeed, the rational approach is which seem to have a better outcome. So it's up to you to have the balance between to have a balance in making decisions. It is up to you to balance your feelings and to think rationally before making the decision. So this is the last part of my report, and next reporter is going to continue our report. So thank you for listening, and the next reporter is going to continue this report.
Critics of feelings-based. The problem of subjectivity. Critics argue that relying on feelings for moral judgment may lead to subjective and inconsistent evaluation, as emotions can be influenced by personal experiences, cultural factors, and transient state. Number 2. The potential for bias and prejudice. Feelings, particularly emotions and intuitions, can be shaped by implicit biases, stereotypes, social norms that may perpetuate unfair or harmful practices. This raises concerns about the moral reliability of feelings-based ethical frameworks. Types of rationality. Instrumental rationality refers to the use of reason to identify the most effective means to achieve a given end or goal. In the context of ethics, it involves determining the best course of action to minimize the moral values or principle. Value rationality involves the use of reasons to evaluate and justify moral values or principles themselves. It seeks to establish a coherent and consistent ethical framework based on rational reflection and logical analysis. Types of rationality. Kant's categorical imperative. Immanuel Kant, a prominent advocate for rationality in ethics, argued that moral judgment should be based on reason alone, independent of emotion or personal desires. His deontological ethical framework centers around the categorical imperative, a principle that requires us to act according to rules that could be universally applied without contradiction or self-defeat. Utilitarianism, an ethical theory founded by Jeremy Bentham and further developed by John Stuart Mill, is another example of rationality-based ethics. It advocates for the principle of utility, which states that the morally right action is the one that maximizes overall happiness or well-being, requiring rational calculations to weigh the consequences of various actions. Automated job application training. Some companies rely solely on algorithms to screen job applicants based on specific keywords or qualifications. This rational approach can lead to highly qualified and diverse candidates being overlooked simply because they don't meet the rigid criteria set by the algorithm. A more balanced approach would consider the human element such as cultural fit, adaptability, and potential for growth, which cannot be easily quantified. Strict adherence to rules without considering context. A school implements a zero-tolerance policy for any form of rule breaking, such as being late or violating a dress code. While the policy is based on rational principles of disciplines and consistency, it fails to consider individual circumstances, such as a student who was late due to a family emergency or a student unable to afford the appropriate clothing. A more empathic approach would consider each case individually and make decisions based on context and compassion. The importance of critical thinking in ethical decision making. Critical thinking, the process of carefully examining, analyzing, and evaluating arguments and evidence, is essential for making informed and rational ethical judgment. It enables individuals to challenge assumptions, recognize logical fallacies, and consider alternative perspectives fostering greater subjectivity and clarity in moral decision making. Critics of rationality based. The issue of moral judgment is that despite rationality's appeal, there is still no universal agreement on moral principles or values. Among rational minds, moral disagreements still exist, raising questions about the capacity of reasons to provide theoretical advice. Reason's limitation. According to some philosophers, reasons cannot adequately express the complexity and depth of human morality on its own. They argue that as feelings, empathy, and interpersonal relationships cannot be fully understood or justified by intellectual analysis alone, ethical decision-making must also take these factors into considerations. Balance of feelings and rationality. The need for balance between feelings and rational thought, a complete ethical framework, must consider the benefit and drawback of both emotions and reasons. While emotions offer important perceptions into the moral significance of deeds and circumstances, reasons alone allows for the systematic assessment and defense of moral principles. Finding an acceptable compromise between the two can result in more complex, well-informed, and successful ethical decision-making.
Good day everyone, my name is Jeriza Aniñon and I will be the one to discuss with you the strategies for managing feelings and biases in ethical decision making. But before that, let me ask you something. How often do you take a time to reflect on your own emotions before making an ethical decision making? Well, mostly kita good is nag-rely ta sa atong feelings than our rational thinking. And by this, kita no usahay na magmahay sa kinatapusan tungo sa itong gipang desisyon sa atong kinabuhi. By managing feelings in the context of ethical decision making is a crucial aspect of navigating complex situations with integrity and compassion. Emotions often play a pivotal role influencing our choices and shaping the moral fabric of our actions. As we embark on this exploration of strategies to manage feelings in the pursuit of ethical decision making, it becomes apparent that our emotion intelligence is a compass guiding us through the ethical maze. And according to Abigail Van Buren, ingon siya, the best index to a person's character is how he treats others who can do him any good and how he treats others who can fight him back. So pasabot ani, meaning the essence of ethical decisions, how we treat others, especially when there is no apparent gain, reflects our true character. And by this, no ing panibagivan para sa kuha moagi jud ko ani no kay dalasan good is mutabang ta kung nagkitanag kung naay natin makuha ani. Aning Abigail Van dili sa niya ni. Kay ang true kuno character is mutabang ka nga wala kay madawat gikan sa iyaha. No apparent gain. And let's dive in about what are the strategies for managing feelings. We have here a self-awareness and reflection. Also, many self-awareness and reflections. Cultivating self-awareness and engaging in reflection can help individuals recognize and manage their emotional responses and intuitions, promoting more objective and balanced ethical judgment. Meaning, before diving into decision making, take a moment first introspection. Also, may introspection. Pasabot ani, self-reflecting, examining. Pasabot ani nga before ta mo decide, before ta mo decision, hunahuna sa nato makadaghan kung kani bang atong ipang decisions tang kinabuhi is makaya ba ni or dili. Dili lang pud sa imuhang kagalingon, pati na pud sa uban nga nakapalibot sa imuha. And then, no, understand your own emotional state and biases. Ask yourself, what emotions am I feeling? And how might they be influencing my judgment? Ito nga ani mga na, maka-reflect gyud sa imuhang kaugalingon kung unsa mas makaayo. Second is seeking diverse perspective. Encouraging dialogue and collaboration among individuals with diverse backgrounds and viewpoints can help challenge biases, broaden moral understanding, and foster more inclusive ethical frameworks. Pasabot with ani, decisions are often complex and involve various stakeholders. Strive to understand the perspective of others involved that consider the well-being of all parties. So kinahanglan po nang need pud ta og kanang kalalain nga mga opinion or thoughts gikan sa mas nakamao sa tua. For example, about sa computer, no, before ka mo kuan sa computer mo tana sa ka kung unsa may sakto ba nimo gibuhat, unsa may makagubaan ni or etc. And by that nakasikag diverse perspectives sa nagkalain nga mga kanang mas nakamao. And then third is seek counsel. Ang seek counsel mo pasabot ani, don't hesitate to consult with trusted colleges, mentors, or friends. External perspective can provide valuable insights and help you gain a more objective view of the situation. Sama sa same sa bud ani din no, ayag pagduha-duha o pangayo og kanang advice sa mas nakamawa sa imuha. Kay also ang advice po sa uban kanang napoy makatabang, makabenefit pud ta ani para sa tong kagalingon o para pud sa nakapalibot sa tuwa. And then fourth is mindful decision making. Mo ni ako inyo nga, practice mindfulness to stay present in the moment. So dapat din ta nga maghuno-huno gud sa makadaghan. Aron po na ato ang gipangbuhat is maayo dili makaguba sa uban. And then last is ethical frameworks. So ni mga ethical frameworks nga makatabang sa tuwa. Naatay utilitarianism, virtue ethics, and deontology. Ang kani nga tulo makatabang gud ako guni makatabang sa tuwa, no? In navigating ethical dilemma and provide structured approach to decision making. By integrating these strategies, we can strive for ethical decisions that not only align with our values but also stand up, no, to scrutiny in the face of diverse perspective. As we delve deeper into the intricacies of managing feelings in ethical decision making, let us remember that our choices we make not only define us but also contribute to the moral tapestry of the world we inhabit. And I hope this kanang discussion kanang nakatabang ni sa inyo ha, nakareflect ni sa inyong kagalingon o dapat po ni ma-apply ni sa inyong kinabuhi. That's all. Thank you and God bless.
The importance of cultivating both emotional intelligence and critical thinking skills in ethical decision making. Ethical decision making required not only the ability to reason and analyze but also the capacity to empathize and respond to the feelings of others. By cultivating both emotionally intelligence and critical thinking skills, individuals can better navigate the complexities of moral dilemmas and make informed, compassionate, compassionate and rational decisions. Historical figure demonstrate demonst- demonstrate the demonstrate the power of integrating feelings and rationality.